My name is David Madison, the 12th of May 2020, and this is episode 4 in a series of videos, Required Homework for Christians. Having served my time among church folks for 9 years as minister of 2 parishes, I know a thing or two about what they need to learn. Probably nothing is more galling to Christians these days than the suggestion by some scholars that Jesus was a mythical figure from the get-go, that is, he never existed at all. Don't be ridiculous, Christians protest, or New Testament scholars overwhelmingly will tell you that Jesus existed. Case closed. But even as they protest and rage, could most Christians identify the issues that prompt doubt that Jesus existed? Could they talk intelligently about this historical problem? Because no matter what they believe about Jesus in their hearts, it is a historical problem. So Christians, please study the issues that prompt doubt about Jesus. Here are 3 possible areas to examine. First, Jesus isn't there where he's supposed to be. This is what Bart Ehrman, a top Jesus scholar, has pointed out. Quote, "In the entire first Christian century, Jesus is not mentioned by a single Greek or Roman historian, religion scholar, politician, philosopher, or poet. His name never occurs in a single inscription, and it is never found in a single piece of private correspondence. 0 zip references," unquote. Now, Ehrman does believe that Jesus existed, but this lack of mention of Jesus is suspicious. The Gospels portray him as wildly popular, drawing massive crowds. But there is 0 documentation contemporaneous with Jesus verifying anything he said or did, such as letters, diaries, transcriptions, court records. Nothing. 0. Second, the earliest New Testament writings are silent about the life and teachings of Jesus. That is, the epistles, especially those of the Apostle Paul, don't describe the ministry, the miracles, the message of Jesus. This is mighty strange. And here's a stunner. Paul describes the Eucharist in 1 Corinthians 11, but the Gospels hadn't been written yet. He hallucinated these words, which were incorporated into Mark's Gospel decades later. When we read the 13th chapter of his letter to the Romans, it looks like Paul didn't even know that Jesus was crucified by the Romans. Mighty suspicious. And third, there is so much fantasy, folklore, and magical thinking in the Gospels. The Gospel authors borrowed so many motifs common in other ancient religions: virgin birth, resurrection, demons interacting with humans, miracle working. What's real behind it all? Is there a real person, a Galilean peasant preacher, beneath all these layers of folklore? We have a right to be skeptical. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Here are some suggestions for homework. David Fitzgerald wrote a 3-volume work, Jesus, Mything in Action. So many insights in these 3 books alone. Also, Richard Carrier, one of the top Jesus scholars on the planet, wrote On the Historicity of Jesus, Why We Might Have Reason for Doubt. It's 600 plus pages with massive information in massive footnotes. Check out as well R.G. Price's book, Deciphering the Gospels, Proves Jesus Never Existed. Scholars who are heavily invested in Jesus argue that he existed, but even they, I am sure, would urge Christians to do some homework. Find out why there's doubt. Maybe a little, maybe a lot.